If I look at something like this guy, it says a carpenter cuts a 45-degree angle at the end of a piece of trim. I'm missing a word there. Let me fill that in. Okay, at the end of a piece of trim or a piece of wood of any kind. I'm using trim as an example because that's kind of like your baseboard that you put around the bottom of the wall. And what happens is the baseboard isn't long enough to go the whole way across the room sometimes. So what they do is they have to cut it and put two pieces together. But they don't want to put those two pieces right together. They want to cut angles here because it makes that transition harder to see. It makes it blend in a little bit better. So what they do is they cut angles off of these things and make the angles fit together. So a carpenter cuts a 45-degree angle at the end of a piece of trim. Then they cut the same 45-degree angle at the start of the next piece. Explain how the carpenter is using a linear pair. And so the idea here, I've shown the 45-degree angle. When the carpenter measures this angle to cut, they could measure it from either end, but when you look at this, this is 45 degrees right here, okay? So this is a 45-degree angle, all right? This guy is also a 45-degree angle right here, but this is what they're trying to cut off. When you look at this, this is the piece they're trying to remove, so they cut that off so that basically this guy's going to fit into the next piece. And when you look at this, they're going to cut this piece off as well, so that basically these two pieces fit together and form a line. And that's what we want. If we're talking about trim at the baseboard in our house, that white or brown stuff, that piece of wood that goes around between the bottom of the wall and the floor, we want that to be straight. We don't want it jutting out from the wall. We want it to continue straight along the wall. And so when we fit these two pieces together, when we think about this for a second, really, let's look at this entire angle right here. And so when you look at this, this is 45 degrees. This guy right here is also 45 degrees, okay? But the idea here is that this is a line. And if that guy's a line, it means that these guys are linear pairs. This has to be 90 degrees. And see, I can see that that's 90 degrees because, again, let me erase some of this stuff. But if I look at this whole thing right here, this 45 degrees, let me fill this in. So these are complementary angles, so that's 90 degrees for these two pieces. And then the whole way across, those have to be supplementary angles. That has to be a linear pair. And so what we're doing is we're creating an angle right here that's actually 135 degrees, okay, when we think about that thing as a linear pair. And so what happens if I kind of erase the rest of this stuff, I think about the piece that I'm cutting off here. So this piece is gone. So what I'm left with is this. I'm left with this whole angle right here that's 135 degrees. And on the other piece of wood, I'm only left with this 45 degree, so that when I put these together, it once again forms that line. It forms a line using the 45-degree angle plus the 135-degree angle, okay? See, I put those two angles together to form this line. Well, these add up to 180 degrees, okay? And this is why that kind of stuff is important. Some carpenters might not use a 45-degree angle for putting those pieces together. That's just the easiest typically, okay? If they used a 30-degree angle for the one, well, then the other one would have to give us a total angle measurement of 150 degrees. And that would change the angle they have to cut. But the idea here is we have to make sure that those two angles, when we look at this piece that's left over here, and we will look at this big piece that's left over here, those two pieces have to add up to 180 in order to give us a linear pair when I put these two pieces together, okay? Because I want this thing to continue as a line.